2022 Lamborghini Aventador Ultimae First Drive Review. The last of a dying breed. The final Aventador takes us back to a time when supercars were rough around the edges. As the Lamborghini Aventador enters its 10th model year, it's clear they don't make them like they used to. The Aventador Ultimae is the final iteration of Lamborghini's non-electrified, naturally aspirated V12 supercar, and the automaker pulled out all the stops to give this road car some over-the-top performance. The engine living under the Aventador's 3 panes of rear glass puts out a stonkin 769 horsepower and 531 pound-feet of torque. Depressing the Ultimae's start button showers the surrounding area in a sonorous 12-cylinder growl that turns into an outright hellish shriek as the tachometer needle closes in on its 8,700 revolutions per minute redline. Get this thing into a tunnel and your smile won't dissipate for days. All that power shoves along a car with a curb weight of just 3,417 pounds, which means acceleration is absolutely brutal. Reaching 62 miles per hour takes just 2.8 seconds, and feeling the physics at work is an experience that dominates the senses. This car will pull until the heat death of the universe, the body squirming ever so slightly at higher revs as the Lamborghini does everything in its power to maintain all-wheel traction. Eventually, though, you will have to change gears, and that's when the powertrain showcases its impressive ability to generate overwhelmingly positive and negative emotions simultaneously. The Ultimae uses the same style of transmission as every other Aventador, and it is bad in all but the narrowest of use cases. The 7-speed single-clutch automated transmission will rip off brilliant, lightning-quick shifts at full throttle, which is great if the car is being carried by a Chinook from racetrack to racetrack. In any remotely real-world scenario, though, the shifts take so long to process that you wonder if there is actually a small person in the transmission tunnel physically moving the shift forks. Around Los Angeles, which I would consider one of this car's natural habitats, using more than one gear elicits long pauses and head bobs as the Aventador works to figure out which gear comes after third. Hint, it's fourth. Even mid-throttle shifts at an aggressive street pace require some time in the waiting room. Back when the transmission was developed, climbing into the sky on California's Angeles Crest Highway, the Aventador Ultimae projects its presence. Its slow, wide body dominates the lane but offers impressive stability. When a car feels displanted this often, it begs the driver to dial in a little more power and brake a little later with each successive turn. Even spirited driving in areas seemingly engineered for this kind of manhandling will only let you touch a sliver of its full capability, but you will never want to halt your quest to grab that golden ring. The car's standard magneto-rheological suspension offers plenty of communication between car and road, but not so much that it becomes uncomfortable. The dampers don't deliver the supple daily driving characteristics of McLaren's hydraulic witchcraft, but it's not far off, and Lamborghini's nose lift system will keep that carbon fiber lip free of steep driveway blemishes. Tactility plays a big part in the overall Aventador Ultimae experience. The steering wheel is the right amount of chunky, and even in the car's chillest strata drive mode, it carries the right amount of weight. The throttle is easy to manipulate in small amounts. The brake pedal feels even better, offering a progressive initial bite for more sedate stops. However, if you're in danger of overcooking a corner, just stand on the pedal and those massive, 15.7-inch front, 14.9-inch rear, carbon ceramic rotors will practically glue the car's Pirelli P0 Corsa Performance summer tires in place. The backup camera also represents the high point in the Aventador Ultimae's cabin tech. The display atop the transmission tunnel runs Audi's original, over a decade-old, MMI infotainment software, relying entirely on a dial and 4 buttons for inputs. It is functional, but again, it lags the competition by a fair bit. That said, it does support Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which can be set up through the car's single USB port between the seats. There's also a real deal CD player built into the driver's side of the transmission tunnel, a big hint at the decade in which this car was conceived and a genuinely interesting feature given how the industry has largely abandoned optical disc drives. The digital gauge display is excellent, though, providing ample information scaled in terms of performance driving priority. While the cabin's tech may not impress to the greatest extent, the aesthetics certainly do. Build quality is excellent, the physical switches are fun to use and some of the little details scattered about really do make the Aventador Ultimae feel special. What isn't covered in suede is wrapped in leather or carbon fiber, and it all feels expensive. The pattern etched into the soft stuff on the dashboard is both visually and physically interesting. Outside, the Aventador Ultimae is actually somewhat restrained. Meant as a best-of-both-worlds model that combines the capability of the Aventador SVJ with the, relatively, demure appearance of the Aventador S, by the time you're reading this, your chance of scooping up a new Aventador Ultimae is already gone. The model's entire run of 350 coupes and 250 roadsters is spoken for, some twice over, as a few of them are currently mingling with seawater off the coast of the Azores. But there are some very excellent alternatives out there. The Lamborghini Huracan is smaller, but its V10 rips and this car feels much newer and is far more compliant in daily use. By the time you're reading this, your chance of scooping up a new Aventador Ultimae is already gone. The model's entire run of 350 coupes and 250 roadsters is spoken for, some twice over, as a few of them are currently mingling with seawater off the coast of the Azores. But there are some very excellent alternatives out there. The Lamborghini Huracan is smaller, but its V10 rips and this car feels much newer and is far more compliant in daily use. The McLaren 720S is simply brilliant no matter where it's driven. If electrification piques your interest and you can't wait until the Aventador's successor comes to market, Ferrari offers wonderful choices like the 296 GTB and SF90 Stradale. The 2022 Lamborghini Aventador Ultimae is a serious supercar, and with its $558,853 as tested price, a seriously expensive one at that. It does not attempt to mince words or walk on eggshells. It makes its performance-forward presence obvious at all times, offering its owners one last quasi-old-school experience before electrification swoops into the frame. It is by no means perfect, and some parts can be downright abusive, but it is a pure product of its time, and it offers an experience that harkens to an important slice of automotive history.